Welcome to Between the Shelves, the premier Savo Library podcast. I am your host, Alex, and this week I am joined by Tech Services Librarian, Tory.
Thank you, I'm here.
And we brought in a special guest for this episode, Lukas, a fellow librarian.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, Lukas. Lukas, you are a super fan, I think, from what I'm told, of the topic of today's episode, which is the Saw franchise.
I've never thought the explicit phrase, I'm a super fan of Saw, but I guess that's accurate.
Okay, well, that's what we're getting into today. So
if you're not a super fan, it's going to be a problem because we are doing a podcast about it.
So why are we doing a Saw episode today, Tory?
Because I've spent years trying to get Alex to do a Saw episode of the podcast, and he finally gave in, I think because of the accumulated guilt from when he made fun of me for liking John Wick almost a year ago on last year's Best of podcasts.
So eventually we'll do a John Wick episode
we'll
as
get
well,
there.
Once you can guilt me into that too. I resisted Saw for a long time, but I finally gave in, and is it an anniversary this year?
Yes, 20-year anniversary.
20 years of Saw. Wow. Well, here we are. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about its legacy, its highs, its lows, and I've got some trivia at the end as well. Maybe we can play a little game.
We would like to play a game.
Yes. Oh, excellent.
Nice.
So how should we start? What was your introduction to Saw?
I think, if I'm not incorrect, we have a shared origin story of Saw, or mine is linked to yours, just like Eric Matthews' life is linked to Mark Hoffman's life. In high school, should I say? So in high school, Lukas and I have been friends since junior high, and when we were in high school, we had a party with our group of friends to watch the first Saw movie because of a specific fear that you had of the movie. Is it okay to say?
Oh, you mean Billy the Puppet?
Yes, Billy.
Yes.
He was very afraid of Billy the Puppet, which some of us thought was humorous, and by that I mean me. So we decided to all watch it together to remove his fear of it, I guess. And then that didn't work out at the party because somebody else was too afraid to watch it. But then we ended up watching all of the ones that were out at the time, which I guess would have been 2010.
It was maybe 2008, 2009, so there were maybe 5 out, because I remember 6 was the first one that we saw in theaters together.
Yes.
6 came out in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So that tracks. So I'm sorry, before you go on, is it a fear of the puppet itself? Is it a fear of puppets, or is it a fear of clowns, or all of the above?
I wouldn't call him a clown.
I mean.
Yeah, I would say... Okay, specifically this puppet, but... In early high school, I was very interested in horror movies, but I was too scared to actually watch any. So I would just read about them on Wikipedia. And the puppet gave me chills every time I saw it, to the point where I saw Scary Movie 4 with my friends, and it's such a ridiculous movie, but I had to look away when the puppet was on the screen. So, yes, this was... I'm grateful I had such supportive friends, too. Get me to face my fears.
So the marketing must have really worked on you, because there's no real other puppets like this. So it was specifically Billy that did it. Wow. So the marketing, very effective for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So go on. So
we just continued watching the series from there.
Approximately mid-2000s that you watched the first one at home.
Late aughts, early teens.
Okay. So I'm a little bit older than both of you, so I didn't see Saw 1 in theaters. I rented it when it came out. I did see Saw 2 in theaters.
Oh.
Yes, it was a date that I've only found out later. The young woman that I brought on the date had a fear of razor blade cuts.
Oh,
and we did not know that was going to be heavily featured in Saw 2.
Who picked the movie?
I don't know, because I don't know why I would have chosen that.
Terrible first date movie.
It must have just been the movie that high schoolers were talking about at that time, because I don't think I would have chosen that, and I know she wouldn't have. So it must have just been what other people were seeing. But
what a wild story, though.
Yeah, I know. I also had a similar. I didn't have a fear of Billy, but Scary Movie, I have a similar story. In Scary Movie 2, they do a parody of The Exorcist, where like Andy Richter is like the priest and everything. So I saw The Exorcist when I was like 7, maybe 8, like way too young. And I've been afraid of The Exorcist ever, basically until last year when I rewatched it and faced my fears.
Right.
So Scary Movie 2, they showed that clip of Andy Richter as The Exorcist doing that scene like on every commercial for months and like leading up to the movie, and every time that commercial came on I like had to turn off the TV. It was so traumatic.
I mean, it's in the title, Scary Movie. I've never seen any of them because I was too afraid. Because the first one, I think, was it like The Ring based? Or The Grudge?
They kind of cover a lot of...
But I know, don't they like focus on like this one is the overarching plot?
I think so. I think it was more Scream based, if I remember correctly, and then 2 was like a haunted house movie.
Well, I know that they've showed like imagery from movies that scared me, so I just never watched them because I said, it's too scary, even though it's supposed to be funny.
Yeesh. I do not know how they hold up, and I will not do a Scary Movie episode, so you cannot guilt me into that.
Check back in 5 years and see if we've done a Scary Movie episode.
So are you said you're curious of the horror franchises. Have you since then become a horror fan?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Is Saw your favorite horror franchise?
Maybe. It's not the best. I wouldn't say that, but it is maybe my favorite.
For the nostalgia factor?
There's the nostalgia. I grew up with the Saw series. I can't think of another franchise. I can think of individual movies that I like more, but not a whole series.
As a total,
yeah.
As a whole. Okay. What about
you, Tory?
Yeah, Tory, what about you?
I think this was also my first like foray into horror movies, and then for like that decade afterwards, I saw most of the ones that I ever saw with you too, which is so horror movies, I guess in general, are very nostalgic. But I'm not a big person who likes like slasher style, which makes it surprising that I like these. But I think it is the nostalgia, or like. Not a movie, but the Hannibal TV show, I feel like is in a similar category of like, it's very, very violent and gruesome, but I also like it, even though you wouldn't think based on other things that I like.
So that was what my question was going to be. So this franchise, though it is horror, technically, it's categorized as horror, it is sort of like not true crime, it's sort of like a crime show plot as well, like a detective show.
The first one's like a locked room mystery more than a horror movie.
So are you both fans of those types of shows as well? I mean, Hannibal's sort of like that, right? Isn't like half of the Hannibal show like the detective? I mean, at least that's what Silence of the Lambs is.
Yeah. It's just more of that.
Yeah, it's just more of that.
Somewhat I am, but I don't think I lean towards like a thriller or crime sort of show or movie, although Hannibal we watched together also. That was really good.
I'm just trying to peg down like what is it about Saw that stands out from other franchises?
The thing that I've claimed, because I think that after rewatching it for this, my feelings have changed a little bit, but I've claimed that it's the overarching plot that does it for me. I don't know if that's true for most people, but how intricate it gets and how self-referential it gets, like it rewards you for having seen the previous movies, especially because the first 7 are like, they pretty much happen concurrently or, right after each other, one or the other. But so I think that the lore and the world building, if you can call it that, is what makes it good, quote unquote, to me. But I don't think that that's why it's popular, because I don't think a lot of people associate it with that.
Sure. I don't think so either. I was surprised, having seen all of these for the first time this week, basically, how interconnected they were, almost to their own detriment at times. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting because most horror franchises that go 10 movies long, they sort of punish their viewers for like knowing the lore. Like they just abandon the lore many, many times over.
And you have questions they don't answer.
Exactly. But Saw, it's the opposite. It does reward you for knowing characters that were whatever.
They haven't shown up in 8 movies and here they are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, hey, you answered questions I didn't even have and didn't want to have.
It's more fan service than clever plotting.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah. Right.
If you look at it closely.
I think the gruesomeness of it draws horror fans in initially, but then the mystery and the interconnectedness keeps people there because you do want to see what convoluted retconning they're going to do of, oh, there was also this fifth apprentice all along.
I can't wait to talk about this because I was getting upset at the apprentices.
It does get excessive.
So before we get into like the movie by movie plot, can we talk about genre for just a second? Because I think it's something we need to cover before we get into the movie. So how do you categorize this movie? Because it's a horror movie, but it's not scary. It's a mystery movie, but there's no resolution. So how do you define it? Or can you just not think
it's
about
a philosophy movie.
Yes.
It kind of is. All of the things that you just said are true. I think it depends on which movie in the series you're talking about. Honestly, it changes. Like the first movie, everything about it is very different from any of the other ones. Like the first movie straight up almost is not a horror movie at all, I would say.
Right.
You don't see the violence on the screen really. It's all in one room, but all of the other ones lean into the sensationalism. So it is like a body horror. Although I associate body horror more with like The Fly type of thing.
Yeah, Cronenberg movies.
Where you're like transforming into a gruesome thing.
It's like body horror as like the most stripped down interpretation of body horror. It's like literally body
horror is
grotesque things happening to a body in vivid detail.
And most of it is the characters inflicting it to themselves, which is unique for a horror franchise. So there's also, I think, an element of people thinking, could I do that? You see the characters struggling to do whatever gruesome thing they have to do. And some people will say, oh, I would absolutely do that. Or I feel like in most cases, I would just sit there and like just get it over with. I'm not going to do this.
Don't even do the clock. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a specific term I think we're dancing around that I don't know if it's okay for us to talk about on a work.
I'm kind of baiting you into saying it.
Okay. People have called it torture porn. Maybe it was even considered to be like the beginning of the genre.
I think Saw and Hostel are the two.
Yeah, I can't think of anything after that. Well, Human Centipede. But
I feel like this, in the later movies, not the first couple, really leaned into the second half of that, where they would have like a very voyeuristic, like one lady in the movie who's like naked, or like the saw trap is pushing her boobs out, and then also she's covered in blood.
Exactly which one you're talking.
I'm talking about 3 different traps, but like people remember those traps, especially if they hadn't like seen all the movies. Those are memorable, so they think that's what the movies are about and ascribed that label to it. But I don't think it necessarily fits into that category perfectly either.
And it becomes more gratuitous as they go on. Like you said, the first movie, there's not as much that's shown. Some of the violence is implied more than shown. And then it's very explicitly shown for longer than it needs to be in some of the later movies.
I think that's because the budget increased as time went on, too. Like James Wan, is that his name? Mm-hmm. The director of the first one said, they couldn't afford to show any gore or anything in the first one, like because they were on such a shoestring budget that they had to cut away. And if you rewatch the first one, like they don't really show anything explicitly. It's always implied. It's always the saw going up to the leg, and then they cut to somebody's face as they saw through their own leg, and then you see the leg on the ground. Yeah, like very creative filmmaking. I liked that about it. The traps get very, like you said, gratuitous as the movies go on, to a fault almost. Too convoluted. It's best when it's simple, which I think John Kramer says that at some point in one of the movies. He says, keep it simple, that's best. Not that I want to identify with John Kramer, but it's true of the movies, and I thought it was funny that they said that. Yeah.
You do bring up a good point, though, that something else I thought about that people, I think, why people like this series is that Jigsaw is a very interesting and kind of likable villain. Like, you don't agree with him. You don't think these people deserve to go through this, but you can kind of
understand why he's doing it.
Yeah. He has more of a, again, philosophy than like Jason just slashing people. And so it makes it more interesting, the motive, I guess.
Yeah, and you learn a little bit more about his backstory every film.
To a fault.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's an interesting character. His motivations seem to be a little nebulous or kind of sway a little bit from movie to movie. You know, sometimes he seems like, you know, sometimes you're rooting for him almost, and other times you're like, well, this guy's just a straight up crazy person. And most of my criticisms of these movies, and we'll get into it a little bit later, but when they focus more on the torturing devices themselves as opposed to like the characters that are being tortured, like then it's just spectacle because I don't like care about the characters. So I know that's like my overarching criticism, I guess, of a lot of the especially later movies.
I think that speaks to one of the tropes that gets established, one of the big tropes of the series of like misdirection is in the earlier movies. He has this philosophy. It's very like small. It's not expanded yet. Like, you know very little about it except for you did this thing. I've created a trap themed around the thing that you did so that you learn a lesson. You are supposed to live. And then as they expand and you get to know him more, they like move the philosophy up and down a scale of intensity based on what they need it to be for each movie, which isn't necessarily consistent for what, if he was a real person, like why he would be doing what he's doing. So then the traps also are ratcheting up in a way that the traps don't actually have anything to do with whatever your transgression was. The trap is just, look at this crazy thing we can put in this movie. So then it doesn't matter. And you're not supposed to know sometimes who the characters are, why they're being punished, how they got into the situation until the end of the movie. So there's the connection that you were talking about of like making it more cerebral and more, interesting. It's just, look at this.
Yeah.
Disconnected from anything that's going on in the movie. Just look at this, and that it will happen for entire movies that way. Right.
Yeah, and just not to put like too fine a point on it, a lot of the characters' punishment doesn't seem to fit their crime. Some of the characters, there's a custodian in one of them who ostensibly has done nothing wrong, who has a horrible death.
True.
There's a lot of characters who, you know, when the movie starts, these people are being punished for a particular reason, and then by the end, it's like, he looked at me wrong, or he just, or he's associated with the person who did something wrong, and now we're torturing this person to torture the other person. It's just like, I don't know.
I think we should get into the movies because these are some specific problems that I do have. Like, I know which one you're referring to, and I was not happy when that.
All right, so let's quickly go through the movies. So Saw came out in 2004.
Well, actually, before that, because I was doing a little research, I have one more that I watched that I don't think you probably didn't rewatch it, but I know you've seen it. Saw 0.5 from 2003, which is the original short film that James Wan and Lee Wannell made to try to get Saw made. And it's basically the Amanda Young trap, the bear trap, that whole scene, but with the guy who plays Adam. He's the character of David living through that. But I really wanted to just bring it up because Billy the Puppet, his first appearance is in this movie, and he has a little bowler hat. And that they remove and never bring back again because they thought it was too unserious. And his tricycle also has a funny little horn when he rides into the room. So I just wanted to bring that up for consideration.
Is it a sparkly red hat?
No, it's a black bowler hat to match his suit.
Maybe his shoes are red. Maybe. No, that's Dorothy.
He's got rosy red cheeks.
He sure does.
That's true.
Okay, so so Saw came out in 2004. What were your thoughts on Saw?
Should I give a little synopsis?
Yes.
Two strangers, Adam and Dr. Lawrence Gordon, wake up to dire circumstances. They're chained up on opposite sides of a dingy, abandoned room with nothing but a dead body, a gun, and a cassette player with two tapes between them. Adam's tape says he's destined to die. Lawrence says he's destined to kill Adam or else. Who, if anyone, will win this game?
Yeah, so what were your thoughts on Saw?
I ranked the goriness of each movie as I was going because I hadn't thought about it before and was surprised by this one. And I gave this one a 5 out of 10 because of that they don't show anything really directly on screen, which was surprising to me from my own memory of it in the past.
Yeah, that's about right. I like this movie. This is probably my favorite of all of them because it's more of a thriller than a spectacle horror.
Right.
I like the actors do a pretty good job. I remember when this movie came out, the twist was a big deal. It was very exciting. I was, I think, freshman in high school when it came out, so it's like edginess was very appealing to me at the time. Those are my overall thoughts, impressions.
I think it is one of the best ones for the reasons you said. It didn't, as the series went on, it obviously they're making them every year. There's an element of cash grabbiness to it, but the first one was a very original idea, and they have so many twists in it that it's very hard to predict what is going to happen. Some of the acting maybe is a little cheesy, but overall, I do think it's one of the best written ones.
I have a theory when it comes to things that people make that, like, the first thing that they make is often the best thing that they ever will make because they put so much of their, like, soul and heart into making it, and if they make sequels to it or, like, make a series out of it, that gets diluted. And so I think that's very clear in this, that, they put years of time and effort into creating this, and then other people went off to the races with the rest of it. So this is not my favorite one, but this is like the purest form of what it could be. And I like this one a lot because there is like also some humor to it that the other movies don't really have. Like Adam does a lot of funny one-liners and asides, like when he digs through the diarrhea toilet, and he didn't need to. Like, they're in a horrible situation, but it's funny. Or when he's dying from smoking the poison cigarette and he's acting badly. Like, it has a humor that the other movies don't have, which I think is really appealing. Also, I thought for the first time ever the puppet was actually silly and funny. Like, throughout the movies, I was like, wow, it's really funny and ridiculous that he just keeps sending this puppet into these situations, these horrible situations.
Right. I just wish in one of the movies it like got snagged on something, and like the victims couldn't reach like
and
the
it throws
tape
off
that
the
was
whole...
and then he has to like come out and like push it forward a little bit.
Nudge it with his foot. It's just so silly. But yeah, I also ranked them or rated each one of them, and I gave this one 9 out of 10. It's not a perfect movie, but it's about as good as Saw gets.
I ranked them on the S to F ranking tier scale.
I can quickly think of another ranking system then.
So mine, I gave it an A. It's not my favorite, but it's one of the best.
I agree. It is an A.
I give it a worth a watch.
Worth a watch.
Which is what you used for the Guillermo del Toro. They had less tiers. They had 4.
We had 4 tiers. A must-see, worth a watch, only for diehards, and skip.
I think we'll get into the lower tiers pretty soon. But I think that there's not much else to say about the first one.
Yeah, for the interest of time, we have 9 more movies to go through. So
Saw 2, 2005. Same writer, new director. Detective Eric Matthews finally has John Kramer, the famous Jigsaw killer, cornered, or so he thinks. Another gruesome game has just begun, and Matthews' son is one of the 8 victims. Kramer assures the detective that if he just follows the rules, his son will be released safely. Can the famously hot-headed Matthews sit by and watch as the players are picked off one by one?
So this was kind of like the haunted house element that I was talking about. No, actually, that was in reference to Scary Movie, but I think it also applies to this one. It's clever that everything's happening in one house now, so it's taking the formula from one and blowing it up to a little bit bigger scale. It's interesting. I don't think in many other of the Saw movies, well, some of them have groups of people all competing, but usually they're like tethered to something, or they don't have free reign to kind of explore or manipulate each other or harm one another.
It's like an open world game.
It's more of a game, almost like a reality show. Yeah. So it's an interesting take. Some clever ideas I think they introduce here. I like some of the traps. I think this has some of the best traps.
Yeah, we haven't really discussed traps in detail because the first one doesn't have much, but this has one of the most memorable traps of the whole series for me. I think just because, I don't know, I just remember it. When she reaches up into the glass box.
That's what I was referring to earlier, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew it was coming and I couldn't watch because I remembered my feelings the first time I watched it. It's very disturbing.
Yeah, the needle pit too. That was another very memorable one.
Mm-hmm.
The razor box one is one of my favorites because it's also very different from usually they wake up and they're in this mechanism or whatever, but this time it was totally voluntary. She just wanted that thing that she had to grab. Basically they're being poisoned by gas in this house, and so they're all looking for antidotes, and this character walks into a room, and at this point they're getting a little delirious because of the gas going through their system, and there's a box just hanging in the air with clearly a syringe in it, and she just reaches up into it, but there's razors that make it
you can't pull your arm back out.
You can't pull your arm back out, and then she sticks her other hand in, and then she's just stuck there. And it's such a feeling of dread seeing that happen, and she can't do anything, and no one's going to save her, and it's disturbing.
Yeah. I was reading some details about this particular trap as well, and I think it wasn't actually intended for her, because these traps each one was intended for one person in the group, and she wasn't supposed to get that one. But also I saw somebody note a detail, if you look closely, there's a lock with a key in it. So you don't have to put your arms in there if you're paying attention, which is what the theme of this movie is. Pay attention and follow the rules and you'll be okay. And no one does. So I think that makes it extra upsetting that she didn't even have to do that.
Yeah. I liked the twist in this one too. I think this does a pretty good job of keeping the momentum going from the first movie.
This is my favorite Saw movie. I rated this 9.25 out of 10. Must watch. Yeah. Well, because it had to be better than 9, but it's not a 10.
It's not a 10.
And the gore level is 6 out of 10, mostly because of that reaching the arms up into the...
I like that the traps are also very simple. They don't start getting super convoluted Rube Goldberg traps and stuff.
They also were kind of smart in the first one to not really show much of Jigsaw, the main villain. So now in this movie, they can really explore him, and he is one of the most interesting characters in it. It's not it's the sequel and we're tired of him. This is our real introduction to him.
But were you to be tired of him, you should probably watch Saw 3, because... I think it's implied that spoilers will be in this episode. He does die in Saw 3. Right. The main antagonist of the series dies in the third movie out of 10. This is actually where I stopped writing detailed summaries of the movies because it just was too much. And it becomes convoluted after this. So
let's give our rankings for 2 and then move on to 3.
9.25.
9.25.
I also gave it an A.
I love how we were all on the same page going into this.
One of the best.
Yeah. Oh, you don't think this is the best?
I think this is probably... it might be the best written one. But personal favorite, there's 2 more for me. Okay. So we'll see.
And I give it a worth a watch.
Worth a watch.
Saw 3, 2006. Same writer and director again, and James Wan helped come up with a story for this, which is why the quality drops off severely after this, I think. But you see him die at the end of the previous movie, but then the games are continuing in this movie, so there's a lot of questions of, is Jigsaw immortal? How is he doing this from beyond the grave? And introduction of some major characters that come later in the series, Mark Hoffman and Jill Tuck. So,
isn't that 4?
No,
they are in 3.
Their introduction, they show a picture of Jill Tuck, and they're like, "This is Jigsaw's wife." And then Mark Hoffman is a forensic scientist at a crime scene early in the movie. Yeah, this one's fine. to me. This one is so much gorier.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I raised my gore level rating to a 10 out of 10, which is not what the last two movies had. Just like in the beginning of the movie, you're shown the aftermath of a trap with like intestines and guts on the ground, which with no warning. And something I liked about the other ones is that there was a little bit of warning sometimes before you'd see something really upsetting, and they did not do that here at all in this movie. Open brain surgery occurs right in front of your eyes.
Yep.
Not for the last time.
Not for the last
either.
time. Grotesque. Absolutely grotesque.
I did like the doctor aspect of this movie, bringing the doctor in to like take care of Jigsaw and like making her life tied to his. So that added like a nice tension to the Jigsaw half of the story. I also thought a nice new twist they introduced was having like one character go through a marathon of tests as opposed to just showing one long test or multiple people going through individual tests. I don't know. They're still trying new things, which I appreciate it in this one. But overall, I think there is still a big dip in quality.
Yes. Not the biggest dip, but a big
Not
dip.
the biggest dip, but the first of many to come.
First of many dips. It also leans heavily into what becomes a big trope, which is like timeline manipulation and misdirection for both the characters and the viewers. Of, you think you're watching some stuff that's all happening at once, maybe it's not. You think you understand the relationships between these characters, maybe you don't. And also you don't have the tools to figure it out. Like, they're just going to reveal it to you at the end, which makes it less like the first movie is more of a mystery. This is starting to take it away from mystery because you can't necessarily figure out the twist yourself until you get to it.
That's true.
Yeah, which is why I don't think it really works as a mystery movie either, because in mystery movies you can kind of piece together the clues and try to figure it out. Like, there's like that aspect of it, but in most of the Saw movies, it's like they just give you a twist at the end, and there's like no way you could have seen it possibly coming.
Which the first time you see it is like kind of fun and mind blowing, but on rewatching, I was looking for hints along the way, and I was like, there's no evidence of, like, sometimes they'll make a fun aside comment or something that hints, but I don't think it's enough.
Yeah.
Right. Even character motivations, like Amanda, who at this point we know is working with Jigsaw. Before, initially she was a subject of one of his games, and then in the second movie it seems like she's
In another game,
but she's actually a mole in the game. But now that we know she's working with him, she's almost less interesting and kind of annoying in this movie. And her motivation for doing things isn't revealed until maybe 2 or 3 movies later. So...
But they can't have known it when they wrote this movie because they didn't know they'd get to make 2 or 3 more movies. So that is an annoying aspect of it. I agree.
I think it's possible, too, that they thought they were going to end it with this one because Jigsaw dies, Amanda dies...
Some other people die.
That officer, Carrie, do you remember her? She was put into the trap by Amanda where she had to put her hand in the acid and get the key. And she did it, but it didn't work, and she died anyway. And that was one of the most disappointing deaths.
Right. That's like the point of 3, right? That Jigsaw didn't want his legacy to be carried on by him.
That's what you think is the point, but then a few movies later, that's retconned.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate, because that was one of my favorite parts of this movie.
And it makes sense for that does establish like a point of view for John Kramer. So when they retcon it with everything they do with the Mark Hoffman character, it takes the wind out of the sails of Saw 3.
All right, let's move on to the next movie.
But do we have to get, what are our
Saw
ratings?
3, I gave it a B. It's still pretty good for me, but there is that dip.
I give it a Die Hard.
Oh, wow. That's a big jump down. I give it 8 out of 10. The listeners can make what they want of the varying scales. Okay, Saw 4 from 2007. We've got new writers, same director. Terrible movie. Terrible.
Big jump down.
Big jump down. An immediate introduction of all new characters, like Agent Peter Strom, an FBI agent who goes ham on the Jigsaw case. His assistant investigator, who doesn't matter too much at this point. The proper introductions of Dr. Jill Tuck, John Kramer's ex-wife, and Detective Mark Hoffman, who's now a detective even though he wasn't in the previous movie. I don't want to talk about this one much. It's not good.
The most memorable part of this movie to me is the scene transitions.
Yes.
Like when a woman is thrown into a mirror and the mirror shatters and then it transitions to a new scene behind that, completely unrelated. Yeah. And that's not a great thing to have be the most memorable thing.
But they are notably beautifully done, the transitions. Like, I've made notes about it.
And it wasn't CGI either. It was all practical effects,
It
too.
was.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Good for them.
This is probably the movie I have the least to say about.
Yeah, I don't... It's just Strom running around investigating, right? I don't even remember it that well, and I just watched it a few days ago. I did write 2 cons. Sometimes I did pros and cons for the movie, and this had only 2 cons. Hoffman and Jill Tuck, and convoluted plot.
Yeah. So I had a couple of notes here. Strom, the actor who plays Strom, is Luke from Gilmore Girls,
Yep.
That was a pleasant surprise for me. One of the traps has one character who's blinded and another who's mute, and they're supposed to work together to solve the puzzle, but it's almost immediately abandoned and just turns into a action sequence, which was, like, in my opinion, just a huge wasted potential for what could have been an interesting trap. There's way too many flashbacks in this movie. I got completely lost in what was going on, and Jigsaw's whole philosophy starts to break down in this movie too, because one of the first victims, they think they show like one of his first victims, and his whole philosophy is like, if I put somebody's, if they face death, then they'll realize how important life is, yada yada yada, and that doesn't work for his very first victim that they show, ostensibly his very first victim. So why does he even continue after that point? Like, his whole philosophy breaks down on his first trap ever.
Which I think is the problem with the rest of the series, is that they then sort of put his philosophy into question, even though, it's not good. It's not a good philosophy by any means, but you can understand why he has it for the first few movies. And then his first trap is something, had a vendetta against somebody who did something to him by accident. So he starts out with the point of revenge, which he never claims that he's doing his traps for revenge. But then as the series goes on, he's getting revenge all the time on people who indirectly or directly harmed him or his associates. Mm-hmm. So it does ruin the Jigsaw, the John Kramer lore by starting him out that way, I think.
Yeah. All right, let's rank it and move on.
I wrote it down as a C, but I'm going to drop it to a D. Wow. It's a big jump down.
And yours goes down to F, you said?
Yes.
Okay. I give it a 6 out of 10 because it does still fit in with the plot of the previous 3 good ones, but it's not good.
Yeah, I had it as a Die Hard.
It's not the worst.
It goes down from here for me. But yeah, Luke really helps it a lot, in my opinion.
Is Die Hard the worst of your...
No, there's Skip is the one below this.
Okay.
Saw 5 from 2008. New director, which that's always great. I do have a plot description for this one, actually. Picking up immediately after the events of Saw 4, Mark Hoffman is celebrated for closing the Jigsaw case despite secretly being one of John Kramer's apprentices. Strom, under suspicion after going rogue in his investigation and being framed by Hoffman, continues his mission to expose the truth while the police close in on him. I just don't find Strom that interesting, so I don't love this movie.
Yeah. It's a slight step above Saw 4 for me, but not significantly.
My first note is, were all of these movies filmed in a week? It looks like exactly like 4. Like,
they're
aesthetically, everything in it. Excuse me. It just felt like a continuation of 4 in every way.
And it was.
For me, and it was. Yeah.
Leaning heavily again into like the timeline manipulation. I think this happened concurrently with 4. It gets dicey which ones, but a lot of them happen at the same time as
I think
previous movies.
3 and 4 happen at the same time for no real reason. That's just the way it is. And then 5 starts immediately after 4.
I also had one other note here. I wrote these notes as I was watching the movie, so they're all my live thoughts. Here's my last note for this movie. This new bad guy is the worst. I can't wait for him to die. Which is unfortunate because we're going to be seeing a lot more of
Mark
him.
Hoffman.
Yeah.
Definitely not as interesting as Amanda or Jigsaw.
For the rest of the movies, pretty much, I had a central critique that I came up with for each movie, and the one that I had for this movie suffers because of its choice to retroactively add Hoffman into the mix as an accomplice for the John Kramer crimes we've seen in the past. Because this also goes against Jigsaw's philosophy as we assume it to be, because Hoffman was a copycat Jigsaw killer for revenge, which is something that he doesn't claim, but then he makes him one of his two main accomplices. That doesn't track with what we know of him and his style. So it's too out of character.
Yeah.
And Hoffman is annoying.
He's very annoying. I just don't like his look either. He seems like he was like a background actor that they had in like 3 or something, or whichever the first one he was in. Yeah. And then like the script writers like were desperate for like making the series continue, and they're like, all right, we'll have this guy come back, but like not realizing like, oh, we have to use that actor. I hate to like put down an actor, but he doesn't seem like
Shout
a leading.
Shout out to Costas Mandylor.
And
great
you know
name,
what?
Though.
People online love him.
They do?
Yes. I don't know. I think there's an element of people finding him attractive, or people liking the way his character just doesn't care and just kind of does what he wants. But no, no, I have nothing good to say.
Okay. That takes it away from what is good about the series. He is a slasher, for sure.
He's a slasher. Which you could say provides an interesting counterpoint to Jigsaw, but it's just not interesting.
So what do we give this one?
I had it as another Die Hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll keep it as a C. I do like the group that's going through traps who
it's
aren't
nice that they're smart.
Related to anything, and how they realize that they should have worked together from the beginning and nobody would have had to die, but that's not the case.
It's not the case. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. I'll stay consistent. Saw 6 from 2009. Gruesome. And I have a lot of bolded notes with angry all caps writing about the violation of Jigsaw's tenets, which is just, I guess that's the main theme of the later original series is that everything so there's a this is the insurance one, I believe. The man who denied Jigsaw insurance coverage so that he could get John Kramer. He has brain cancer. I don't know if we've established that. No. The series is very convoluted. But a lot of the people that he targets are people that allowed him to continue having brain cancer and struggle with it. So an insurance man who denied him coverage to get an experimental treatment has to go through a bunch of tests. And one of them is that he has to choose between a single young man with no family and a middle-aged mother with a history of diabetes. He has to kill one or the other. But this is the movie I think you were talking about when you said people who don't really have anything to do with the problem then die. Yeah. Neither of these people did anything. They just worked at the insurance company.
Mm-hmm. And the custodian. Also dies, who his only crime is that he is a smoker. That's it.
He doesn't value his life.
He doesn't value his life because he smokes cigarettes. So now he has to be sawed in half for his crime of smoking a cigarette. It's just...
And this is the first of many bad takes by Jigsaw. He does have a lot of things to say about people who smoke, people who are addicted to drugs, people who have made bad choices in their lives. He will make strong judgments against them, which again seems out of character for me. Yeah.
Despite all this is my personal favorite of the Saw movies.
No, that's a twist.
I think because 4 and 5 were so uninteresting after the first few, 6 was a big jump up in the quality for me. I think with the writing and a lot of the characters are just throwaway, but I like the traps. I like that there is a philosophy with the insurance company that he has to now use his policy towards the people that he works with and cares about. It doesn't make sense with Jigsaw's philosophy because in a lot of these traps, someone has to die, which originally is not the point. People are supposed to survive and become better. So it doesn't make sense, but I'm going to ignore that and say it's still my favorite.
The fun factor for you outweighs the problems.
I guess so.
Yeah. I did like the marathon of tests again, though. I did like how they run this guy through all these different tests. I like when he has to, like, the Steamworks sort of trap where he has to, like, help somebody navigate this maze, basically, and there were some interesting traps in this one.
I do want to say my con for this movie, my con statement. This movie suffers because it retroactively establishes that John Kramer would go around telling his theories about people needing to face death in order to prove that they have what it takes to survive to literally anyone who will listen, including a guy at his wife's work party. How did no one suspect him?
Yeah, that's true.
That's all I really have to say about this movie.
All right, let's rate it and move on.
I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
I gave it an S rank.
S rank.
S rank.
I gave it another Die Hard.
Wow, I'm surprised none of these have gotten to skip yet for you.
Oh, just wait.
We're here. Okay, Saw 3D 2010. One of the most memorable Saw movies for me because I remember going to see it in the movie theater with you. And the opening scene is very memorable. The opening trap. Because it's in public. It makes no sense how it was able to be set up. It's two people in a glass enclosure in the middle of a Times Square type location, and it's two guys on either side of two big saws on a table chained together, and then a woman is dangled above them, and she was like two-timing both of them to get stuff. So they have a choice, live or die, make your choice. Either one of you can cut yourself in half and you and the other guy and the woman will live, or you both cut her in half, which, spoiler alert, is what they do, and then they have a chance for body parts to fly at the camera because they filmed this movie in 3D, and that the overarching theme of this movie is stuff is flying at the camera because it was 3D. Legs are flying at the camera.
And the blood is all pink.
Yes.
Because something to do with the color grading for 3D, they had to make the blood pink, and then when you watch it not in 3D, it takes away some of the...
That's interesting, because I did notice that.
The pink blood?
Yeah, the pink blood. Do you want to share your thoughts on this?
This is... so this was Saw 3D, the final chapter, in air quotes. And they definitely tried to push it to... It has the most traps of all of them, the most deaths. But that makes it, like you had said earlier, a spectacle more than an interesting story. And the protagonist, I guess you would call him, the main guy who's going through trying to save people, is one of the least interesting.
Is that Detective Gibson?
I hate Detective Gibson. He is the newest FBI agent, and he's irritating and uninteresting. But he's talking about Bobby Dagan, who he pretended that he survived a saw trap and became famous and an inspirational speaker for it, and then has to eventually go through the trap that he claimed to have gone through in real life. It's there's one notable thing about this. There's a lot of like very famous people throughout this series and all the movies that it just doesn't even get acknowledged that they're in these movies. Chester Bennington from Linkin Park is in this movie in one of the traps, which is kind of a cool scene. Where a bunch of people are connected to this car.
Oh my god.
It was one of the most gruesome Saw scenes that there is. He's glued to the car seat. The car is going to run over this woman's face. The back of the car is attached to a guy's lip. I forget the last guy. And none of them make it out of the trap. But just the fact that they cast a singer from Linkin Park is just interesting to me. But this movie sucks because... It's a showdown between Jill Tuck and Mark Hoffman, the two worst characters.
That's
in
true.
the series.
Yeah.
And it's her running from him for 90 minutes, and then it doesn't work because he's unstoppable.
Yeah, I have a note here. Oh no, the detective's still alive, in reference to Hoffman, meaning we have to sit through another movie with this guy. Yeah, this is the worst movie up to this point. This is my first skip, not to get ahead of our ratings.
No, go for it.
There are so many traps in this movie that are completely pointless or ill-designed. For instance, the opening one. What is the point of that trap?
Who are they?
Is cheating on your not even boyfriend or girlfriend a punishable by death crime? What lesson are they supposed to learn in this? They are harming no one but themselves. And then the other...
How does Jigsaw know about this?
Right. How does he... That's a great point.
Who are they?
Is he just in a cafe, overhearing conversations? I can't believe what Kathy's doing.
I know this is skipping ahead, but in one of the movies they show him peeping on a custodian stealing in a hospital. So sometimes he is just looking.
There's another trap, the leg lift trap. Do you remember this one where he has to get in a weightlifting leg lift machine and I don't even know how it's connected to this other woman's fate, but there's no winnable scenario. I don't understand how there's literally no way that it could have been a success. I don't understand that trap at all.
Which we've gotten into the part of the series where John Kramer is fully dead, and Mark Hoffman is not as forgiving as he was. He was left instructions to create some of these traps, but I personally think
he missed a couple pages of the instructions.
Well, I think that he puts his own twist on things. I think he is less invested in them having redemption through the trap and more just the punishment. So he doesn't care if it's winnable. Not like Amanda, who would make them intentionally unwinnable, but just you probably will die from this. You could live, but it's not tilted in your favor.
Yeah.
I think that it's all Hoffman making... But why does Mark Hoffman know about those two people in the beginning of the movie?
Great point.
Yeah.
Detective Gibson, who we mentioned earlier, is the worst police officer in the Saw universe. He is a terrible actor.
He's the least savvy in world. He doesn't know what's going on at all.
Absolutely.
One... Oh, go ahead.
This movie does have the worst acting and the worst dialogue of all of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
One... Actually, I wouldn't call it a good thing, but one interesting thing, the only interesting thing maybe, is the ending where, surprise, surprise, Lawrence Gordon from the first movie finally appears again. Carrie Elwes had a lawsuit against the production of the first movie because of some royalties issues, so he didn't appear in the movies in the middle, and then came back, and this was supposed to be one of two movies, so they took the ending of the other movie where he shows up and smashed it into this movie. So he is also retroactively credited as being one of the Jigsaw accomplices. He is a doctor, so he did all of the medical stuff in any of the previous traps, sewing people's stuff shut. But there was no way to have predicted that, no. And it's not necessary.
And why did he do that anyway?
Great question.
Good point.
What was his motivation? He wasn't being blackmailed, was
Jigsaw saved him, so he's Amanda too, I guess.
He saved himself when he cauterized his own wound.
But then he was just lying down there, and Jigsaw came and removed him from...
And fed him. It was a Stockholm Syndrome.
I guess so.
It's just a weird ending to a bad movie.
I think they just needed to have some kind of major twist to end what they, I guess, might have thought was the final movie in the whole franchise, and it was just a way to tie it back to the first movie. But man, is it lazy and bad. And
because this was the final chapter, that doesn't go anywhere. That big twist means nothing. I mean, although they are making another Saw movie, so who knows? But I think that it meant nothing. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to rate this 2 out of 10.
This is an F.
Wow.
And I had it as a skip.
Skip.
We do get to finally see the iconic reverse bear trap kill someone.
Which is grotesque. It's horrifying to see.
It is.
Rip Jill Tuck. Anyway.
Rip, literally.
Yeah. Jigsaw, 2017. I thought that Saw 3D was the worst Saw movie, but then they made Jigsaw. Mm-hmm. So Jigsaw is 7 years later. Everyone was surprised they were making another one, and no characters that you recognize at all. It's a whole separate story that seems like it could be a copycat killer, and it's different cops in a different town investigating what looks like a Jigsaw murder, even though John Kramer is dead. And then, surprise, surprise, it's not him because he's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, this one is really lazy. I thought they were
Lazy.
I thought they were rebooting the franchise. That was my impression going to this, and it was not. It just is a continuation 10 years later. Yeah, really, really, really bad, poor. The opening scene with like the guy's being chased by the cops, and he has like some kind of detonator or something in his hand. They had like blow off his hand. I laughed out loud. It was just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so stupid.
I did have the same question as you of whether this was supposed to be a reboot, because the closing line is that the bad guy says, "I speak for the dead," and that seems like it was supposed to be his new, like, live or die, make your choice. Yeah, but he's horrible, so they couldn't make a series out of that.
Yeah. Also, like, one of the grievances in this movie is like Jigsaw's nephew dies or something. Isn't that one of them?
Yeah.
It's like they're just like enough bad things can't happen. They just are just like, what else can we do? Like, who else can he have a grievance with? They're just coming up and pulling stuff out.
He has tenuous connections to so many bad things.
Right. Like, this is the most unlucky person in the world. And then also his next door neighbor is a baby killer. Like, what are the odds? Like,
And he knows that it happened.
and he knows it happened.
That's the thing for me about this movie, is there are so many instances of Jigsaw knowing things that there's no way he could have known. Like, one of the victims was a purse snatcher and had robbed someone on the street. Oh, and the amount of change that was in this person's purse was written on the syringe that she had to use for an antidote to save herself. And how would he have known this?
That is such a good observation.
There's also, like you said, it's very lazy. It's supposed to take place, the main game with people dying is supposed to take place while Jigsaw is still alive, which is a twist that comes later. You think it's happening years later, but it actually happened in the past. And yet there are technological advancements like these flat screen TVs from the time period when there was... It just, it doesn't make sense. And, okay, the thing that pisses me off the most is that the FBI is finding all these bodies that were seemingly killed in the way that these traps that they're showing are killing the victims. But that happens in the present.
And you have no way to know.
You have no way to know, and there's no reason for them to have killed these people for the police to find, except to trick the audience into thinking it's happening in the present moment. There's no reason in the story that these bodies need to be killed and discovered.
Yeah. I think the worst twist about it, and the last thing I have to say about it, is that, again, we get a retroactive Jigsaw accomplice, and it turns out that this man is the first ever Jigsaw accomplice. He's been there since the beginning. He helped make the original bear trap, but we've never heard of him before. No other character has ever referenced him. So what's the point of that?
Yeah, the Saw movie that they're making now, I heard that the new accomplice is actually his childhood best friend.
Is that a joke?
No.
Oh.
No, yeah, it is.
That's horrible that it was believable.
Yeah. They're just going to keep going further back in time. It's like he was his best man at his wedding who like slighted him in some way.
He actually was born, he had a twin, and the twin is still alive, and he takes up the mantle. This movie is 2 out of 10.
This is a skip from me.
This is an F for me.
Spiral, which came out 2021, I think. Which Luke and I also went to see together, although that was the second time you saw it. That was my twist, is that you didn't tell me that you had seen it already until the end of the movie.
Did I?
Yes.
No, I didn't see it. I read what happens because I didn't think we were going to see it, and then we did. But so I knew some of the plot details.
This is Chris Rock's superfan dream. It's a movie of, again, not directly related to the Saw plotline, but there's a copycat on the loose, and Chris Rock has to solve it and save his dad, Samuel L. Jackson. Everything about it's so random.
I only have one note for this movie. I did see this the year it came out, so this is the first Saw movie I saw since Saw 2.
Wow.
When it came out.
I'm sorry.
My thought was Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson. What could go wrong?
Everything.
Well, apparently a lot could go wrong. That's my only note.
There's one thing I did like about this movie. 21 Savage did a song for the soundtrack that's over the closing credits where they remixed the iconic Hello Zepp song into a rap beat, and it's a really good song. So that's the one thing I like about this movie.
I like that they tried to do something different, but it just didn't feel like a Saw movie. So it wasn't effective for me.
I am curious to know if the antagonist from this will show up in the new one, because there are very few people who are alive who are connected to the universe now for them to continue unless they keep going back in time. But
I would say we're going to go back in time if I had to guess. Or reboot. I keep waiting for that reboot.
It's 11, so I don't think it's a reboot. I think when they try to reboot, they give it a new title. Spiral from the Book of Saw. The one page in the book. Okay, I guess I would give this a 4 out of 10.
I gave it a skip.
I gave it a D.
Yeah, this checks out. Next is Saw X in 2010.
2023.
2023.
In 20XX.
20XX. I have a twist to reveal. I hadn't watched this movie, and I watched it for the first time yesterday.
Thoughts?
What I didn't like about it is that almost every other movie was a cool 90 minutes, and this one was pushing 2 hours, and I don't think that was necessary. One of the things that's nice about it is that they're nice, quick little like bites of movie, and this is too much.
I actually like that about it because we talked earlier about people, some of the victims in these traps you don't know anything about, and so why do we care other than to see them get killed? But in this one, they take a while to set up the plot of what's happening, why these people... Basically, Jigsaw is trying to get this experimental treatment, and he gets conned into a placebo. They didn't actually do surgery, and he spent all this money to get this treatment, and so he does get revenge on them. But it makes sense. Okay, maybe it doesn't make sense in his philosophy, but...
It makes sense that he would want revenge on these people, but it doesn't fit into, like, the Saw philosophy so much.
And he does allow them... some of these the traps feel impossible, like when she has 3 minutes to either cut off her leg with a wire and suck the marrow out and get a specific amount of bone marrow, or else her head explodes. It felt like that wasn't enough time.
Yes, I had that note I had that point in my notes. I would like these movies so much. This applies to almost all of the movies. I would like them so much more if they gave the characters more time. Because the whole point, ostensibly, is for these people to have a realization and learn a lesson, not to kill them. So, like, giving somebody 2 minutes to, like, gouge their own eye out and get a key or something is, like, insane. Like, why even put a limit on it? If anything, it's more agonizing to make people contemplate that for a whole day.
True.
And then do it. And learn a lesson. Like, no one's going to learn a lesson in 2 minutes.
No, I guess, though, in the interest of it, like, being a movie, then you have to get through things.
Right.
Putting the time limit puts pressure on them to do the thing. But I don't like that if somebody almost finishes the task that they're given... Right. They did what you wanted. Right. And you haven't actually given them a chance for anything, because she had almost accomplished what was... But she just didn't do it fast enough. So now she dies.
It turns into a game show.
And then what was the point?
Right.
And that happened twice in this movie.
It did.
Where someone almost succeeded, but...
ran out of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree that this movie's too long, Tory, that you mentioned that. And I think that's because they have to do so much legwork to, like, fit this movie into the timeline somewhere. Like, you know, because they are just dipping back into...
This is in between Saw 2 and 3?
I think so.
Or Saw 1 and 2. 1 and 2. And it's... John Kramer goes to Mexico to get the brain cancer treatment. But, like, how much more can we explore? He's clearly the most compelling thing about this franchise, and you killed him off...
7 movies ago.
Right. And also, the actor is, like, 82 years old now. Like, how is it believable that this is him 20 years ago?
Yeah, and Amanda, too.
And Amanda.
She's almost 20 years older than she was in the first movie, but we're expected to believe that...
The horrible wig.
Yeah, sure.
Also, I want to know how they get Billy to Mexico. because Billy does appear in the when did he build all this? He wasn't in Mexico for that long, but he has this whole facility built to exacting specifications. But Billy did make me laugh when he rode his bike in with like a tray of surgical supplies.
Yeah.
For one of the traps.
We love Billy, don't we?
We love him.
Maybe Billy lives in Mexico, and they just fly him out for each movie.
But he created Billy. Oh, you mean the actor, Billy?
No, I mean the puppet.
Which we didn't even talk about the backstory of Billy being...
He's Pinocchio.
But being a toy that this man created for his unborn child.
Pinocchio.
A terrifying toy. Anyway,
I have two more notes about this movie. This is the first movie that they get rid of the green tint that they have over all the previous movies, which I greatly appreciated. Really? It was making me sick. I'm so done with that late 90s aesthetic in a movie that's 20 years later. Also, the main antagonist, I guess, of this movie, Cecilia, is that her name? She's too comically villainous. Yeah. And it's just too over the top and campy for what is already a pretty campy franchise. So just didn't work for me.
There's not really room for two cartoonish villains.
Right.
And she's way more cartoony. Mm-hmm. And tries to get one... I guess I actually didn't like this movie. I thought I would think it was okay. It was just nice to revisit for old time's sake, but a lot of issues. And then they bring back Mark Hoffman.
For that, it's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Skip.
One star for Mark Hoffman. But what would we rate?
I gave this an S rank. It might be recency bias, but I think also after Jigsaw and Spiral, which both tried to break the mold a little, this one goes back to what really worked, I think, from the first couple movies. And a lot of that does have to do with Jigsaw being front and center. He is the main character of this movie, more so than any of the other Saw movies. So, I love it.
Okay.
You give a lot of leeway to when there's two bad movies in a row, the next one...
True, being better.
Yes. Yeah. Which is fair.
Rises from the ashes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was going to initially give this a skip. Thinking about it, I do agree that I like that it's going back towards the more Saw formula. So I will also, in the spirit of Rising from the Ashes, bump it up to a Die Hard. not getting the S tier.
One level. Yeah. I would give it maybe around a 5. Like, I think Die Hard is appropriate because if you are a fan of the series, it's interesting to see this interlude from the past. But it's also really unnecessary that any of it happened. Like, he went on a jaunt to Mexico and it never came up. And it happened in between the events of the other movies, and it never was mentioned? Explain it. You can't.
You can't. They couldn't do it in 2 hours.
Some of the stuff with the traps, like you said, there was the radiation trap that was already there in the facility that they pretended to do the surgery, so that makes sense. But the thing where they were being waterboarded by blood, where did all that blood come from?
Endless blood.
Blood.
What facility stores radiated material and is also a slaughterhouse?
And also, his whole thing is that he feels he can predict human behavior and predict what people will do. And you see him distraught because they put a child into this blood waterboarding trap with him. And so they both get waterboarded by the blood. And at the end, he's like, not quite what I thought, but it was fine. Like...
Yeah. I also like his little pep talk for the kid at the end. He's just like, "You're gonna go places, kid." It's just like,
is that the next Apprentice? Are we gonna do a big time jump? Oh, we can't because John Kramer is dead. I don't know. I just don't. The timeline is all screwy.
All right, so that's the end of our Saw franchise. But I do have a little bonus that I wrote up. You want to play a game? No, that's not right.
That's pretty good.
That's like Jigsaw in his teenage years.
Oh. They gotta tell that story.
I gotta see his awkward puberty era, John Kramer. Okay, so I have some trivia here from the Saw franchise, and I'm gonna see which of you is the bigger Saw head. Okay, so first question. How many people has Jigsaw been responsible for killing?
Is it multiple choice?
No. Okay. Whoever's closer.
0.
Or his accomplices have killed. He is responsible for their deaths. How many people is he responsible for their deaths? How many people die in the movie?
Okay.
You're giving him way too much credit.
I'm going to say 93 people.
That we see on screen, you're saying?
Or you can assume have died because of his actions.
I'm going to say 40.
The answer is 80.
Wow.
Cool.
That seems like too many.
It's way too many for any human to kill.
And those aren't even all of them. We haven't seen them all.
Which movie has the most victims?
Saw 3D.
Yeah.
Yep, you're both
It
right.
has the most traps.
According to Metacritic, which film in the Saw franchise has the lowest rating?
Saw 3D.
Yeah.
No.
Jigsaw.
Saw 5.
Oh.
You're close, though. Saw 3D is a close second lowest. Did you know that the Saw franchise
Did you know?
is the highest grossing horror franchise of all time? It has the Guinness record. $1.1 billion.
Wow. I did not know that.
Do you know what the second highest grossing horror franchise is?
Halloween?
It's got to be a more well, yeah.
This is adjusted for inflation.
Oh, okay.
I'm just on the number of movies. I'm saying Halloween.
Just to say something different, I'll say Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
You're both close. Halloween is closer. Halloween is the third highest. The second highest is Scream. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think, is fifth.
Scream has. I mean, they've kept going, but it has so many less movies. That's impressive.
Next question. I have a series of names here, and I want you to tell me if you think it is the name of a trap in a Saw movie or the name of a death metal band.
Oh, this is good.
Nice.
First one, Shotgun Carousel.
Saw Trap.
Saw.
Yes, you're right. Saw 6. Next one,
Fave.
Pound of Flesh.
Saw Trap.
Also Saw 6.
Yes, you're correct. Saw 6. Bonesaw Lobotomy.
That's a band.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. They're a death metal band from the UK. Face Rip.
A band.
Band?
It's a band. Good. That's a thrash metal band from Sweden. Next one, Glass Coffin.
That's a Saw
Saw
Trap.
Trap.
Yes,
Mark
Saw
Hoffman.
5.
good job. Actually, and 4 and 5 as well.
Strahm could have been in there.
He could have, but he chose wrong.
He chose death.
He didn't trust Jigsaw, the most trustworthy.
Fool. Electric Hate Machine.
That's a band. that's your band.
That's my band. That's a Polish thrash metal band, yeah. Okay, last question. Across the entire Saw franchise of 10 films, what was Tobin Bell, aka Jigsaw's, total screen time in minutes?
Oh, Saw 10 really skews that,
Boosted
I feel.
that, yeah.
Because I would have said like 18 minutes or something, but now it's at least 60, almost 100. It gotta be at least 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm going to say 150 minutes.
Oh, it's in minutes, you said?
Yeah, you said 60. That's a number of minutes.
No, that wasn't my guess. I was
Oh.
doing math. 180, you said?
I said 150.
150. 151.
Wow.
It is 72.
Wow.
An average of 7 minutes of screen
Even
time.
though he was the star of a full movie.
One of the movies, I think it's Saw 5 or 6, he only has 2.5 minutes of screen time, and he's top billed. I think it's Saw 6.
Well, it's crazy that he even has that much, considering how long ago in world he died, and that they just would film random scenes where they make up new lore about him. Like, that's a lot of screen time for a dead character who we don't need to know more about.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, you both took too long to answer. So if you look down, you'll notice both of your ankles are strapped down to your chairs. And I'm just going to leave this saw here on the table. And thanks you for coming and joining me on this episode.
We have to keep podcasting, and whoever
I'm gonna leave it
whoever
recording.
passes out first
Wins.
wins.
Remember, his philosophy is not stable.
Podcasting
True.
is the ultimate torture. All right, well, I think that's all we have for the Saw episode. Thank you both for joining me. Lukas, it's been a pleasure. I hope we can have you on a future episode. I'm not sure what that would even be, but we'll figure that out. And Tory, it's always a pleasure.
I'm sure I'll see you again.
Yes.
So let me just ask you before we go: would you guys watch Saw 11, or are you burnt out?
Oh, well, I'm watching any Saw movie that ever comes out.
I'm super, super burnt out, but I will watch it now that I've invested. I'm this invested.
Now you have to. You can't leave.
And also, I have no. What's the word? Pride. Bye.
Catch us next time between the saws.